Hello, 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 hello. A little dark this morning. Good morning. Let's ride and talk, right? Let's ride and talk. Let's talk about, first start off with your credit, right? You know, have to talk about that going into 2020, why that's important. Let's talk about cash flow. Specifically, good morning, Deshaun. Specifically, payroll taxes, right? Payroll taxes out of your paycheck. Let me camp here for just a second or two or three. President Trump actually, it was suggested at one point, rumored, that the payroll taxes. Good morning, Antonio. Happy belated birthday. You celebrated a birthday not too many days ago. Happy birthday to you, belated birthday. And so President Trump suggested to actually reduce payroll taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. That was up in the air's proposal because many are predicting that the United States is broke and bankrupt, and so is the Social Security and Medicare system. But there is also a way, whether this proposal passes through or not, to reduce your payroll taxes only when it comes to your federal taxes, right? Just last week, I did this training for someone through my W-4 wealth strategy. A six-figure income earner, right? I gotta make sure my hair is all good. A six-figure income earner whose gross salary was $255 annually for the year, and they were being taxed right at the 26% mark. Federal taxes out of their paycheck was $54,000 out of the $255. So help that person redo their taxes, add some adjustments. If you Google your W-4, you can Google 2019 W-4, 2018. You will see on a W-4 that lines A through G are for allowances. But there's also something that most people are not familiar with, and it's called deductions. All right, so that's the cash flow incentive. You can get those services right now for a very, very discounted price because it has to be done through a business and a company. It cannot be something that you can just do on your own as an employee, because you have to have business tax deductions. That's what deductions are known for, as included with an employee. So what happens if you make those adjustments out of your paycheck and you don't have additional deductions to claim as you file taxes? Then you may be in a position where you're paying back. So you have to have the business entity, right? The business in the box added to your job, and you get those deductions. But the great news about it is that it's only $34 a month to keep the business affiliation. And I help you to do that. $34 a month, you're talking approximately under $400 a year. And the minimum person that makes $50,000 or more or less increases their paycheck from $200 on a monthly basis. So that means you're getting, it's well worth the investment all the way to $500 or $600. It all depends on a number of things, like, do you have children? Do you have dependents? And of course, what's your annual income? How much you grow. So people that's, 38, 50,000, they see anywhere from 200 to 500 out of their paycheck, right? And it's a great tax strategy, and it's a great way not to give your money, 28% of your paycheck, to the government, because a refund is just them refunding you back that money. But this is the catch: you're getting 0% interest with it. So let's talk about your credit for 2020, right? Why that's important. Well, if you have anything, credit cards, adjustable rate loans, second mortgages, HELOC, home equity lines of credit, if you have anything that's financed right now under the terms of adjustable interest rate, or that's variable, it's not fixed, then if the feds or the federal decides to increase, which they are talking right now, they lowered the interest rates, but during recession and economic reset, they increased the interest rates, right, on loans, which means that they're not loaning now, money through means of credit or financing. And a lot of people still have their homes, despite of the 2008 housing crash. A lot of people still have their homes on balloon or arms types financing, because it's called non-prime lending. Something I didn't know. I thought the Dodd-Frank Act that the Obama administration passed after the 2008 market crash really stopped people from having those balloon finances with their homes, but now they call it a non-prime mortgage. Good morning, Kareem. I'll send you a text when I log off. We've been discussing cryptocurrency, so I need to discuss that with him. So I'll send you a text message when I log off. And so people now, they went from the balloon payments in 2008. That's mean when the federal government, when the feds increased the interest rate on their loan, they couldn't afford to make the monthly payment, right? Because the interest amount doubled. And now you have non-prime mortgages that people have with bad credit, and it's going to be the same thing. So you need to look at anything. If you have a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, you have a second mortgage, you have credit cards, that could very well increase, right? If you have a vehicle that you're trying to purchase in the future. So what happened in 2008 was the banks offered these people through Fannie Mae, Fannie and Freddie, right? They had those loans, and they were adjustable interest rates. And people with low income, they falsified their income, first of all, to get into the property. They lied about their income. And so when the interest rates increased, their homes were foreclosed on. And so, 2020, the economy always reset itself, and it has to reset itself because America is in so much debt. So what they have to do is stop lending, increase the interest rate, and get the money from you, the citizens, right? And with that increased interest rate, people lose their homes. So you need to look at your finances. You need to look at, do I have anything that's financed under adjustable rate terms? Do I have vehicles that's financed under adjustable rate terms? Meaning that if the federal government decides to increase those interest rates, then your vehicle note is going, if it's not fixed, if your vehicle note is going to double, your home note. But what happens is they give opportunity for people to refinance, right, those bad financial deals. But this is it. When it gets to a point where it's recession and the feds increase the interest rate, only the people with the credit will qualify. Only the people that have the good credit will be in position. So you have to ask yourself, if the reason why I got this vehicle finance at high interest rate, or that was front loaded with high interest, or the reason why I got into this house under the non-prime lending in adjustable interest rate because of my bad credit, then how am I a candidate, right, that once these interest rate increase, because they always increases during recessions, and how can I position myself not to lose what I have and to get it refinanced at a lower interest, right? And so, you know, you have to really look at getting your credit prepared right now for the crash, because you don't want to be in that situation where you're losing your home, losing your vehicles, and things of that nature. Okay, so then we have coins. I just did a study. I just read a great book on investing in gold. Well, I won't say investing, but transferring your money, your cash. This is cash. This is currency. This is called currency. And I'll get into that later on, the difference between money and printed currency. This is printed by the U.S. Federal Reserve. It says the Federal Reserve note on top. And this is a legal tender for all debts, public and private. And so what happens is we have a lot of moving pieces. If China and Asia, right, Japan, decides that they don't want to buy any more of our debt, meaning that they don't want any more of this printed money or this currency, right, for their intellectual property, for their goods and services. What a lot of people don't really understand about China is that it's just bigger than your Apple iPhone or iPad that they provide to the United States. It's soybeans. It's for farmers. It's pork. It's beef. It's dairy, right? So if China decides that through these tariffs, or we enter into a trade war, and they decide, hey, we're going to stop our imports to the United States. We don't want your printed money anymore because it's not backed by anything. It's worthless. The dollar has the biggest dollar crash, meaning that more of these have to be used to purchase more products or services, right? Meaning that, for example, you can use $2 for a gallon of gas 10 years ago, or $1 for a gallon of gas 10, 15 years ago. Now, 2019, it takes 3 of these to purchase 1 gallon of gas. And that's called inflation. When the Federal Reserve is printing more money, printing more of this, but the prices as a result of anything that you buy or consume increases, because now people have a more supply of these circulating. And so it takes more money to export, import, or for businesses to produce the items that we're purchasing, because more of these are being pumped into the economy because they print this on a printing press every day. And it's just, just think about Rolls-Royce cars. Only a limited supplies are rolled out because they want to keep their value, versus a Toyota, Hyundai, who make mass productions, or Nissan. And so they're able to sell them or put them on the market for cheaper prices than what you would pay for a Rolls-Royce, right? So the more of these is printed on a daily basis, in which the Federal Reserve do, and the Federal Reserve is not a U.S. entity, it's not a government, it's not federal. They are an elite group of rich people, business men that come together and they work with the government of the United States, right? So, do your research about what the federal really is. And so what happens is you're losing money when you just save money, because you're losing its purchase power by the day, meaning that prices are increasing and it takes more of these. So why would you save something that they're printing, right? Why would you save something that if it's stored, that it drops in value if you do nothing with it? So what you want to do is take this and have assets, or you want to take it and convert it into gold and silver. But the problem is people don't really understand why gold and silver. And the fact that in 1971, President Nixon at some point, this paper money was backed by gold, meaning that it had gold certificate written on it. So people stored their physical gold in banks because gold was hard to transport. It was heavy. It wasn't lightweight. And if they went and patronized someone's business, they were able to give that person a gold certificate of this printed dollar. And that person, if they wanted to, that business person could go and turn that paper into the bank and get the actual physical gold. Well, in 1971, President Nixon stopped that. He eradicated that. And he took the printed dollar off of the gold standard. So now it's not backed by anything but gold and printed currency, right? It's still correlated. They still affect one another because of the local exchange market. Now, I don't have time to really get into that. When I'm sitting down and able to teach, then I will teach these things so you can understand it, because if you don't have and it was hard for me to understand as well. And I really had to make the connection that the government is still printing, gold coins to this day. You can still buy $1 gold coins through the government, right? And it can be used as legal tender. And a lot of people don't know that, and it's not taught in schools. And so it takes a whole, and I'm going to just sit and do a whole teaching on that. But this is the point. As the dollar continues, as the printed money, the currency continues to devalue, right? And let me tell you, the dollar could be worthless in one chess move. If China decides, for example, that they no longer want our dollars because the United States is more in debt to China than China is in debt to us, and if they say we're cutting off our trading in agreement because China has been purchasing more gold for themselves, because gold and silver is real money, right? And they've been purchasing more gold. See, China's citizens, even though they're communists and their citizens work for low work labor, right? Their citizens do not even get the opportunity to reap the rewards of their own labor, because they ship the soybeans, the dairy, to the United States. And most of the United States have those products, and the own citizens of China don't even get to consume it because they ship it here, right? So if China decides that we're going to make agreements and we're going to join with Asia and trading, and we're going to offer them our products and services, we have enough gold in our central banks. We have enough financial prosperity to sustain on our own without the exchange of the United States. That means our dairy price is going to increase, our agriculture price is going to increase, our farmers in the United States are going to be bankrupt, our manufacturers will be more bankrupt, steel production will, it's just so much, so many moving pieces, and all it takes is China to say, we're done. Now this dollar is going to be totally worthless and collapse, because now China is saying, we don't want it. And if we can't give this cheap money to foreign markets, then you know what? It's going to be worthless. So you need the coins, you need the gold and silver. But what a lot of people don't understand is, what do I buy? Is different types of gold and silver, right? Exactly. Jekyll Island, Kareem. People need to look that up on YouTube as well. They had a secret meeting, the federal did, to decide, hey, and see, the people back in the 30s, they didn't want central banks. When they had these secret meetings, they confiscated all of the gold of American citizens in 1934. That's when the Great Depression happened. They made it illegal for these people to own gold. They gave them 10 years in prison or a $10,000 fine if they own gold. So the people turned their gold in, and as a result, they had these the elite men had private meeting on Jekyll Island, and they decide because they know if they introduce this to the public or to the citizens, that the citizens were not going. They knew then how central banks from other countries would make them poor and poverty. They knew the people would not vote for central banks. So they had to see these elite men who are generational wealth, right, met with the government because the United States was broke. So the government had to, J.P. Morgan's, they had to meet with these people, right? The Henry Fords, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds met with these because they obtained all the wealth at that point, right? And the government said, okay, we'll do it because we're broke. You have more money than we do. And actually, Abraham Lincoln tried to introduce the greenback. He wanted the government to have his own money, but he got assassinated. So did John F. Kennedy when he wanted to put the dollar back on the gold standard so it could have some value and worth. But the thing comes into play now that people just want to go out and buy gold or maybe silver. And if you don't have a financial education, then, that won't benefit you. You need to know the difference between gold or silver coins. Silver is even bigger now because it's only $16 an ounce. And it's less silver in supply than it is gold supply. You ready to be my wife? I take care of you, new cars, new house. So, Mark, nice to meet you, first of all. So, silver is a consumable metal, meaning that they're using silver now in your phones for industrial purposes, to build cars. So, silver really is a bigger commodity right now because of the pricing, because right now, to purchase gold for 1 ounce is $1,400, right at $1,500 an ounce. And so you don't want to purchase gold for that amount. If you didn't purchase gold when it was under $1,100 an ounce, it might not be a good purchase for you, because now if you turn it in and you convert it, if the dollar continues to crash and you're able to turn gold into precious metal dealers or silver, and when the dollar, if it increases the purchasing power, which would be deflation, right, which means prices will get really low and your dollar is able to purchase more now versus inflation. This is all stuff you don't learn in school, so just roll with me. Then you can really cash or turn that gold back in, right, and get, if you bought it for $1,100 and the price of gold goes up to $1,500, right, Kareem? I got a proposal you all on Facebook Live, and the price of gold back. Then you purchase for $1,100. If the dollar goes back, if the Fed continue to keep the interest rate low, you can cash it back in. This is called deflation, and you can get $1,500 back. But this is the thing: if you're going to be taxed 28%, then you're not really gaining anything. So you need to know what type of gold to buy. You need to know what type of silver to buy. Do I need to buy coins? Coins are printed, not printed, but made by the U.S. government, right? Do I need to buy rounds? Rounds have more silver, for example, is more pure silver, which will be used for industrial reproduction. There's actually less silver available right now in the world than there is gold. It's more gold to purchase than silver because, again, silver is used for so many different things, for so many different industrial projects. Or do I need to buy bullion? Right? So, hey, I'm logging off because this is really going to take me being in front of my whiteboard, giving you some financial, but it's just a brief overview of what you need to do. So that's why you don't need to save money in banks. It's lower in value every day, right? And why, if you did flip that money into, or flip your dollars into silver or gold, that's why it's not an investment, it's insurance, because it will hold its value. So if you ever needed to flip it back to printed currency, if the dollar value increases, then you haven't lost anything, right? Chanel Will said, don't go. Where am I not going? I don't know what that means, said don't go. So, yeah, get your credit fixed. If you have anything on adjustable rate during a recession, you can lose that, whether it's vehicles, whether it's your home, adjustable rate mortgages. You need to get out of those ASAP. Get your credit fixed now for 2020 for the crash. You need to understand your payroll taxes out of your paycheck. Get that W-4 adjusted only for $34.95 a month. Reach out to me for that W-4 wealth training. Get less taxes out of your paycheck. Legally, President Trump has already have this proposal, but it's something you can do for yourself for $34.95 a month, anywhere from $200 to $600. And then learn about coins, learn about gold and silver, particularly silver right now, because it's only $16 an ounce, right? And if China calls our debt, the dollar can crash, meaning that your dollar is going to be worthless because we're in too much debt. How do I feel about bankruptcy if you're in adjustable rate loans and your credit, with bankruptcy, you would have to file a Chapter 13 if it involves keeping your house or vehicle. And filing a Chapter 13, if you can lock those all in at adjustable interest rates to keep them, first of all, know your value on them, know if you're overpaid for them. A lot of people, loans are front-loaded, meaning that they're only paying money and interest on these vehicles anyway. They're paying $500-$600 a month, and there's only interest payments, meaning they're paying nothing toward the actual principal or the quarter loan. And so make sure that if you get bankruptcy, it's going to be fixed interest rates, right? At a fixed interest rate, not variable. And know in order to keep your house and vehicle is going to have to be a Chapter 13. And just know that a Chapter 13 is going to stay on your credit report for 7 years. Chapter 7 stay for 10. So if you have that on your credit report for 7 years, you're locked in at a house or a car. And so if they depreciate in value for 7 years, you can't flip and get another house. But your cars and your business, now, you can't get another house. So, you want to make sure you're not upsided on the house or the car. So for those strategies, Chapter 11 is for businesses. That's what President Trump, filed Chapter 11, bankruptcy. Those for people that have businesses that they want to be clear to their business that it doesn't relate to your personal. The laws have changed bankruptcy and it allows you to keep certain things. So are you saying, okay, well, Kareem, let me know about the laws. I get bankruptcy, delete our credit report. I don't know a lot about them, but I'm always trying to learn more about finance. It allows you to keep certain things up to 7 years. Well, I'm just saying on your credit report, a Chapter 7 report, 10 years, a Chapter 13 report, 7. So a lot of people sometimes have Chapter 7s and they like, I'm trying to, I don't know why this didn't file my credit report in 7 years. Well, they stay for 10, right? A lot of things, people need to understand about student loans as well. For example, during the Obama administration, Sallie Mae was the servicer and private banks were the servicer of student loans. The Obama administration changed that. So now the federal that I was just discussing, they're in charge of student loans. So after 2008, all of your student loans are federal. They belong to the government. That's why you'll see U.S. Department of Education and Fed loans reporting now more on credit reports. So what does that mean in short? Well, for the people that was taking out student loans just to purchase a house or to get a car, now you're in debt to the government, sir or ma'am, not to these private banks. See, if you was in debt to these private banks, you could at least file bankruptcy on it. But now, you're in debt to the government, honey, sir, ma'am, with those student loans, which means you're in big trouble because They're going to stay with you till you die if you don't pay them off. And even student loans now with U.S. Department of Education and Fed loans are even more difficult to get removed off credit reports than Sallie Mae or Department of Ed Navient, right, in the past. I have tried fixing my credit. Nothing's worked. Then I was told that even if you pay your debt, it doesn't help your credit. First of all, I tell people do-it-yourself credit repair products. A lot of them don't work because everybody's situation is different. It's no one-size-fit-all. Even the services I offer is not do-it-yourself. It's done with you, meaning that my clients have to email me updated, scan their updated reports. They have to get documents notarized. We work together. It's not that you send me your driver's license and utility bill and it's done, and I'm supposed to know what updates are being updated on your credit report. When you get notified that updates, you have to update me. I was told even if you pay your debt, it doesn't help your credit. That's false. That's a myth. If you pay your credit card debts first, paying your installment that's like a car loan does very little to help your credit because it's something called FICO, the Fair as Isaac Corporation. And that FICO model, your DTI is your debt to income ratio. So when you pay off your vehicle, your debt to income factors in very little in your FICO score. So that's why when people look at Credit Karma and their score drops, it's your Vantage score anyway, meaning that the FICO score is the score that your bank and lenders will use anyway, not your Vantage score, which you see on Credit Karma and a lot of these free monitoring systems. But so if you pay off credit cards, which is revolving credit and not installment, then paying off credit card debts will increase your credit score. This is what you need to do. However, if you want quick reporting to increase your credit score, hello, Mr. Porter. We need to do that live about silver, gold, and about coins, rounds, and bullions so people can understand. You don't want to purchase bullions if you're going to get taxed 28% once you convert that. And you need to know the difference between currency or coins and rounds. But back to paying off your credit card debt. With credit cards, you want to make sure that you call and ask, what's my closing date? What's my closing date? And when you pay those credit cards by the closing date, it reports faster to the credit agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You have loans. So loans are considered installment debt, meaning that it's a fixed amount of payment every month. See, with credit cards or revolving debt, the more you pay down the balance, the lower your monthly payment, will be. So, okay, Mr. Porter, I'll give you a text. Or text me because I may forget. Honestly, I may forget. So, and so when you have loans or installment loans, it depends on your strategy, right? It depends on your strategy. Because if you're trying to get approved for a house, for example, paying off a car or an installment loan or a fixed loan will help you. It will help your DTI because a lot of things that lenders look at when you're trying to qualify for a house is how much money do you already owe to other people? Can you afford this, right? And so paying, it won't increase your credit score, but it may help you still qualify if you have over, I like to say, a 640 credit score for a home, because now your debt ratio or the amount of money you owe to other debts or businesses or banks is lower. So paying off that credit card or those installment loans will help your DTI if you're trying to get approved for a home. If you just, want a high credit score and maybe you're trying to do something else and you need or get some things refinanced, then look at your revolving, look at your credit cards, pay those out first. So everything, I tell people, everything is customized. Even my W-4 wealth training to help you with your payroll tax, it's all customized. There's no one size fit all. Even the credit consultation, everything is customized because everybody don't have the same issues, the same things. So it takes some consultation. So if you want your credit consultation, Go to my website, www.fixmycreditandcash.com. Look at book online. It's a $50 investment. And I'm gonna answer this question, Chanel. You're asking some good questions, so thank you for that. Won't it stay on your credit as delinquent but paid? Collections will. Collections account will. So many people will argue why pay collections accounts. Realtors will tell you that to pay your collection because they want a quick sale or they want their commission. And that's a way to, for them to qualify you for a home. But it's still going to be on your credit report as a collection account, paid or not, unless you get an agreement in writing with the company that they would delete it. Then you send it to the credit report. But you can get that deleted without the company consenting, right? And so the only time a paid collection is good on your credit report is that you have positive payment history. And payment history calculates about 35% of your credit score. And, sometimes deleting even a collection that payment history will lower your score. But if you haven't been paying, some people say, I just pay $5 a month, so, or it won't report. But sometimes it's still reporting and they pay. That helps your payment history. But if you're not paying on it, then paying it will not delete it from your credit report unless you get something in writing from the company stating that they will delete it after you pay. And then you may send it to the credit agencies and they will delete it off those circumstances. But you can get it deleted whether, you pay on it or not. So, yeah, that's it. Credit, cash flow, and coins 2.0 for 2020. Getting you fixed for the new year. Great questions, Miss Welch. I love that dialogue. And, I get back on the gold and silver and money and currency and coins so you can understand how that works as well. And even crypto. How Bitcoin is affecting the dollar and devaluing the dollar as well. So, hey, you all have a great, great day. Queen of credit here, cash flow, and collectors.